Okay, welcome to episode 4 of The Religious Stripper. I just talked about how I was kicked out the day after I graduated and how I was dating this boy from high school. So basically what happened at this point in my life was that I just felt super lost. I felt like I didn't have a home and a family. I felt very ungrounded and unsettled. I had moved 14 times in 2 years. I was just all over the place. I only had like a car full of stuff, and I had this business degree and this dream to be a dancer in Hollywood. And yeah, but I felt like my foundation was so cracked and just so unsettled and kind of fucked up. So I had been dating this boy who had just gotten out of prison, and I thought like, you know, I never intended to get like too serious too fast. Like I wanted to keep it very mellow, move very slow, and just kind of like feel it out. But after I was kicked out, it was suddenly like, wow, I'm like lost and I've got nothing other than this boy who at this point I've now known for 4 years. So suddenly everything kind of speeds up, and by Christmas we decide to get married. I definitely pushed it, which was like a huge mistake on my part. But at this point I'm just like desperate for family, and I'm just thinking like, well, I get whatever I want when I work really hard, so I'm just gonna work hard and like make my own family. Terrible idea. I so don't recommend getting married young. I strongly say don't get married young. But I was desperate. And, you know, I had really loved this boy. I'd loved him for 4 years, and I just like knew from the day that I met him that like we would be together. So I just thought like, well, I'm gonna love him forever, so it just makes sense. Like, let's just get married. So Christmas Eve, I break the news to my family. We break the news to my family that we're engaged, and everyone is just like not about it at all. They're like, just wait 5 years. And here I'm back hearing like, wait 5 years, then you can start your life. Wait. And like at this point, I'm just fed up. And I'm like, I really don't care what any of you say. None of you are helping me. None of you have been there for me. I've been doing everything by myself. My decisions, my life, my decisions. Because like I was struggling and I just felt alone. I didn't feel like I had any help. I didn't feel like I had any support. So, you know, I just sat there and nodded during all of their advice giving, and then left and was like, yeah, we're gonna get married. So at this point I'm thinking like, okay, well, we'll get married in like a year or two, and like, you know, just wait. I also finally decided to take a job from my uncle. He's like kind of my uncle. He was my dad's best friend. They offered me a job, and I was like, you know what, like I need some steady income. I'm just gonna take it. So I did work a job for a year and a half selling toner on Amazon for a company, which is so funny to think about. There really wasn't a whole lot for me to do. I mostly just sat in the office and just thought about my time and what I wanted to do in Hollywood, and started like making connections online with Hollywood and like with dance companies and dance studios. And yeah, I needed the money, but I was still like working towards a goal. So me and this boy are seeing each other. He finally kisses me right before I leave to the Philippines, and he says like, I know I want to marry you one day. So like that's how we got engaged. And then we're just spending all this time together. You know, we're trying to not have sex before marriage. And then one morning, like he slept over, you know, we're still not having sex, but he just wakes up and he's like, let's just go down to the courthouse and get married. And I had never been one of those girls that had dreamed about my wedding and had like this big, like, I want this big, huge thing. Like for me, it was always just about me and the person. So I was like, yeah, let's just get married. And I thought like, okay, like this works. Like I'm making the moves for my life. I want to pull my life together. You know, I'm working a job right now, making money, which is good. I still want to get out to Hollywood, but I'm with this boy that I love. Like, let's just get married. What could go wrong, right? Like, we love each other. we love each other. We're both working full-time jobs. They're like shitty full-time jobs, entry levels, but like, you know, we're working, and like it's like, well, let's get a place together and like do this, but we're gonna do this the right Christian way and get married before we have sex. So then, yeah, we don't tell anybody. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna tell my family about this. He tells his mom. His mom was always like there for me and just had my back. She was really wonderful. And his aunt, they were just like so amazing to me. And just, yeah, they really spoke into my life in a really profound and powerful way. But anyways, so the day comes, I'm like, I'm getting married today. I don't care what anybody said. I'd already picked out my dress. I got like a really beautiful wedding dress because that was like the only thing that I had really wanted. He didn't even have a ring for me yet. I mean, he had given me like this little, I remember when he proposed, oh my God, it was so terrible. The way he proposed was like, we came back from some place and we were fighting and I was upset. And then like we were in the car parked at my place and he walks out and I just hear him like talking to himself or praying to God or something, and I'm just upset. And then he comes around, he opens the door and he goes down on a knee. And I'm like, oh, no way, this is not how you're gonna do it. This is not the story I'm gonna tell for the rest of my life. But yeah, he proposes to me and he gives me like a little straw ring. And I was like, oh man, what a terrible engagement story. And then we walk in the house and my friend's dad is there and he's like, how's it going, guys? And we're like, we're engaged. It was awful. I know I'm kind of hopping around with this. But yeah, I had like a little small ring, I think. But, you know, I got my dress. I didn't have the ring yet. And yeah, I wake up this one morning, I tell my best friend about it. My other really good friend that I'm living with knows about it. And I'm like, I would really love to have you two there. Like, my best friend as my maid of honor. My other friend, I want you there as like the photographer. So we wake up at like 5 in the morning. I start playing Friends because it just makes me happy. The girls are like doing my hair and doing my makeup and we're getting ready. And then we hop in my friend's minivan and we're driving to the courthouse. And I'm like in this wedding dress and I'm like, what am I doing? What's happening right now? And then my friend is like, do you have earrings? And I'm like, no. So she takes her earrings out and gives me her earrings. And then she's like, okay, Alyssa, it's your day. Like, what do you want to listen to? What's really gonna pump you up and like get you ready? And I'm like, guys, I really need to listen to some Fetty Wap right now. Like, Fetty Wap is like what I need. I just need to get a little ratchet. It'll like chill me out and mellow me out so much. So we're like in this minivan driving to the courthouse. I'm in this wedding dress. It's like $1,000. I'm wearing my friend's earrings. I don't have a ring, and we're jamming out to Fetty Wap. And oh my God, it was just a hot mess. So we get to the courthouse and it's just me, my soon-to-be husband, the judge, and my 2 girlfriends. And the judge is like super fascinated by me. We have the same birthday and she just feels like I'm something special because I have the same birthday as her, and I'm like, well, I don't know. But anyways, we're standing there and we go through the ceremony. It comes to the vows and he's like, oh, I don't really have any vows. And I'm like, what? I have like 2 pages written out. And so he just makes up something on the fly. And I'm like, and my friends are just like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh no. That's a pretty bad sign, like right from the get-go. Anyone who's listening to this can tell like this is like a shit show of a wedding and just like destined to like fail. And like I should have known better and like been smarter. But again, we're circling around to the fact that like I'm desperate at this point. Like I feel lost and alone, and I forgot, I haven't even mentioned what happened, but something was also like very wrong with me. And so like I'm just trying to get through this life. I'm just trying to get through life. And my reasoning, my logic is just like, we love each other, we'll be fine. I'm used to challenging men anyways because of my dad. Should have known better. Anyways, like, I say my vows and I'm like bawling, and my friends at this point are just like, okay, Alyssa, like, he didn't even have vows, like, what the fuck are you doing? But whatever, we support you, we love you, you're gonna do it no matter what, so we're here. Oh my god. So we get married. And oh my god, this is where it gets so bad. Now that I'm remembering this, I'm just like, oh my god, Alyssa. So then after we get married, we go outside. We take some pictures. And then I drive him to his job. I forget, he didn't have a full-time job at this point. I drive him to his job and drop him off at his job, and we walk in, me in my wedding dress, him in his tux, and I say goodbye and walk out. His job was McDonald's. He was a host at McDonald's. When did they even get hosts at McDonald's? I don't fucking know, but somehow, like, he had a job created just for him to be the greeter at McDonald's. And so my husband is the greeter at McDonald's, and I'm dropping him off there in my fucking wedding dress. Proud for some fucking reason. Oh my god, what an embarrassing story. I can't believe I'm even sharing this. I can't believe I even did that. Oh god, okay, I'm playing with my hair a lot because I'm just like, Jesus, Alyssa. Anyway, so that was 21. I remember then, after that, I went back to my girls and we went to the mall, to Macy's, to like shop for some lingerie for that night for me. And I just remember like telling them and being like, guys, I am pretty positive there's like some wild sexual creature pent up inside of me. And they were just like, really? Like, inside of you? Are you sure? And I was like, yeah, like, I just feel it in my gut. Like, I feel like when I have sex, I'm just gonna be like, whoa. And this like demon monster seductress is just gonna be unleashed. And they were like, okay, if you say so. I had no clue how profound that statement was, because it was really fucking accurate and nobody knew. Mind you, at this point, I'm a super good girl Christian. Never had sex, like, didn't even let my ex-husband kiss me until he knew he was gonna marry me, and like, just totally, totally different. So then, like, here we go, we're walking down, oh, what am I talking about? Walking down the aisle. Whoa, that did not happen. I don't know what I'm thinking. Coffee or something. So yeah, so now like I'm married. I'm gonna continue out this story, actually. This is such a funny story. Okay, so then it gets worse. Oh God. So then after his shift at McDonald's, I go and pick him up from McDonald's, and I have all of our stuff for our honeymoon, and we drive off to Santa Barbara. We have a room rented, and we go to have our honeymoon, and it's super exciting because, like, we've never had sex. I've never had sex, period. He hasn't had sex at all since we've been dating, maybe, well, I mean, definitely longer. So we get to this room, right? Oh God. I wonder if he's ever gonna see this. He'll probably hate me, but I really don't care. I feel like he's gonna end up seeing this and be so mad, but can't find me, so I don't care. Oh my God, okay. So then, oh my God. So we get to the honeymoon suite and we go to do the thing. How much should I share? So basically, like, his pants start coming down, and I see, I don't know, maybe I should edit this out. I see a dick for the first time in my life, and I've never seen a dick. Mind you, this is how much of a good girl I am. If any of my current friends are watching this, they're just not even gonna know, like, what to think, because, yeah. Anyways, I've never seen a dick in my whole life. I'm 21, and the first time I actually see a real one, not just like a sketch of it in an anatomy class, it's like fully erect. And I see it, and like I instantly go like full red, and I'm like, oh my god, like this is like the biggest thing in the whole fucking world. How the hell is this thing supposed to go into tiny little me? And like, mind you, at this point, I've never even like looked at myself down there. I've never masturbated. I've never orgasmed, nothing. I'm not even joking. I'm 21, just super sheltered, just super like. And so like, I'm like, oh my god, like, what? And I'm just like starting to laugh like really uncomfortably because I'm like, there's no fucking way. Like, there's no fucking way. Long story short, we don't have sex that night. He goes to like put it in, and honestly we just can't fit it in, and like none of us know anything, so we don't know how to like prepare it properly. We don't know like how to do it. We don't know how to do the thing, and like, you know, you just think like all you do is like you stick it in. It's just not going in. Like, we don't know anything about anything. It's just hurting me, and like we both just end up crying that night. Like, oh my god, it was so terrible. It was so terrible. Yeah, it was just not at all what was expected, and it was awful. So that was my wedding. That was my wedding. That was how I got married and how I attempted to lose my virginity. We ended up having sex like the next day, and when it finally went in, we were like, did it go in? And like, we were so happy. I don't even think it didn't even go all the way in. It barely went in. To be totally honest, I don't know if we ever actually had like real sex the whole time we were married, and if it ever went like all the way in. Like, I'm not even joking. We were married for 2 years, and like, looking back, I remember telling a friend, I was like, I don't think we're doing sex right. And she was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, I don't know if it's actually like going in. She's like, how do you not know? And I was like, it just feels like he's kind of like pushing against it and nothing's actually happening. Oh Jesus. So yeah, when people are like, why are you like so sexual? This is why. I was sexually repressed for a very long time. A very long time, and I just did not know how to do the thing. I really didn't. So it was just like a struggle bus, such a fucking struggle bus. But you know, like, I will say this, in our own twisted crazy way, like, we were happy. I don't really talk much about my marriage in this day and age, but like, I will say, like, there was a point when we were like really in love, like really super in love, as crazy as we both were. We were, you know, we were happy in a really twisted way. In a really twisted, unhealthy way. We were like in love, and like, when we went out and people saw us in public, we were just like really in love. When we came back, we weren't so in love, but when we were out, like, everybody like really admired what we had, and I think for a time there was something special there. I knew from the get-go that we were going to be together, and like, we were together, and we were like really together. We did everything together. We were always together. We were probably together too much, and that's probably something that fucked us up, but yeah, at one point, like, we really loved each other, I think. I can't really remember anymore. I just remember, like, one night we went to a family party and we were dancing and just, like, killing it on the dance floor. I don't even know if it was good dancing or not, but I just remember feeling like everyone was watching us and just knowing, like, feeling at the time I was with my soulmate. And I'm thankful for we're not together anymore. Because I'm glad I'm not that person who was that person's soulmate anymore. But also, like, I know that, like, I was a really shy, super shy, unconfident girl. And the reason I was so in love with this guy, for as much trouble as he caused me, was because he was the first person that brought me out of my shell and just, like, made me feel comfortable being myself. Probably because he was such a silly person in public and, like, just didn't care what other people thought. and it just helps me not care what other people thought. Like, now I'm a really out there person. Like, I have a really big personality, and I honestly probably, like, got that from him. So, you know, this is, like, the first time in years I've talked well of my ex-husband, actually, too, which is, like, a really big thing. But just in being honest, like, I was definitely, like, in love at one point, you know? And, like, yeah, like, he did marry me, and he was there for me. He was, like, the first, like, sense of home I had again. A really, like, terrible home, but it was, like, you know, we were together all the time. So I think we were just we were two really broken people, just, like, trying to find a solution in each other, and, like, you can't do that. So I guess, like, you know, this is where I'm gonna, like, kind of end this off, is that, like, you can't, like, fix yourself by using somebody else to do that. Like, you have to put that work in yourself and find your happiness within yourself for yourself. You can't use somebody else to be that, because it's just not gonna work, and it's gonna mess both of you up more in the long run. You really have to find that within yourself and find that, like, love and peace and happiness in yourself first. And until you do that, like, you're not going to find it anywhere else. So, you know, self-love is so important. Taking the time to heal is really important. Taking the time to get established is really important. Some of us come from, like, really shitty, traumatizing situations. That's just, like, what life brings on us sometimes. But at the end of the day, like, for me, I was always upset because I was born into an unfair situation. Like, I never asked to be forced to be, like, this academic prodigy. I never asked to be, like, locked in my room. I never asked to, like, constantly be paranoid about people killing us and to become disassociated with this idea of death. You know, I never asked for these things, but I was born into it. I was born into a situation where I was going to be locked in my room and, like, not allowed to, like, love the things I loved. And it fucked me up. But at the end of the day, even though I never asked for that, it still is, unfortunately, my responsibility to overcome the effects of it. And same, like, with my ex-husband. I'm gonna get into this more in the next episode, but, like, his problems were his responsibility that he had to solve for himself. And that was something that we tried to learn within the marriage, but ended up not being able to figure it out in the marriage. I mean, maybe we could have if we had worked on it longer, but, like, I couldn't handle being there any longer, which, you know, I'll get into all of that later. But yeah, that's why self-love is so important. That's why, like, my whole brand is about self-love and overcoming trauma, because even if it wasn't your fault, it still is your responsibility, which is really, really shitty. But the good thing is, once you overcome it, it's so much better. And the thing is, you can overcome it. It is possible to overcome the wrong things that were done to you that weren't deserved to you. It is possible to rewire your brain and restructure your mind frame. Like, it's 100% possible. It's just really, really, really hard. But that's why I'm creating the series, because I want to talk about, like, how to do that and how to, like, overcome trauma, how to rebuild yourself into the person you want to be. Because the thing about life is that we're born into this situation where, like, what we know is whatever we're born into, and that's just what it is. Until you can see past that, you can't see past that. And, like, to be able to see past that is just impossible. So, like, what I did to, like, start overcoming and seeing, like, how to dream of a better future than, like, the present I was living in was by reading, was by listening to podcasts, watching YouTubes, researching, and just being like, I know there's more out there. I know there's better out there. I read so many books as a kid about just these insane lives and lifestyles, and, like, just seeing, like, these people overcame this. Like, I can too. I just need to keep researching and keep understanding how did they unlock their brains to elevate to a higher level, to become more than what they were born into. And that's really, like, the trick of life, with anything in life, with making money, with overcoming trauma, with finding love. It's like you have to just research, how do you unlock that space in your brain? And it takes a lot of trial and error. Like, it takes a lot of practice and a lot of work, and a lot of people don't want to put the work in, so they stay in this little bubble of, like, this is who I am, this is who I'll always be. I don't know anything better, so I'm not going to strive for anything better. But in reality, there's so much better out there. We just have to like take the time to like open our minds to the possibility by reading or by watching podcasts, and then like researching how to take the steps to make it happen. So that's like really, really super important. So in the next episode, I'm going to talk about like what was wrong with me, what the problem was that I was having, as well as like what was wrong with my ex-husband too, and why that caused such a clash in our marriage, and why it ultimately like destroyed our marriage. Maybe it didn't even destroy our marriage, actually. I won't even say that. Why our marriage was only meant for that time, and like what it played a role in for our futures to like at least help me become the person that I needed to become. I don't know where he's at in life right now. But I know that like I needed that marriage to like completely break me so that I would rise up and become the crazy sensual monster that I am. But then how I had to like again reset and reground to find balance. It's all such a journey and such a learning process, and it really comes down to just being patient with yourself and learning to love yourself. So we'll dive into that in the next episode. So thank you for joining me for this episode of The Religious Stripper. Next episode, I'm going to dive into like the root of my traumas. I've kind of explained how I got my traumas, but now I'm going to explain like what the past caused me to have, and how it like really began to torture me and also go into like what happened in my marriage as well. So have a great day. Remember to be good to yourself and to love yourself. Read books. If you're not happy with things in your life, start reading books, start listening to more podcasts, watching more YouTubes, and building yourself into the person that you really want to be. So have a beautiful day and be a badass babe.